Johnny and Justin were two simple Imagineers at Disneyland until they dared to ask the question,
"Hey Justin, is Disney diverse?"
Well, Johnny, I'm not.
Oh no, we've angered the mouse!
Stormtroopers, run!
Holy crap, it's a gathering of cookies!
Now, from undisclosed locations within the Disney park, Johnny and Justin record a podcast where they seek to answer the question, is the Disney catalog diverse?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Disney+Diversity. I'm Johnny.
I'm Justin.
And today we got special guests with us. We got Miss Migdalia, Miggy Spicy.
Hi. Hello, everybody.
Hi. So thank you for coming on. So as y'all know, this is Disney+Diversity, where we rate the Disney catalog to see how diverse and inclusive it is. And today we got something special to talk about. We're reviewing That's So Ravn, y'all!
I was wait, does he know? Is this a bit?
I gotta lead him into it. The anticipation. And so, and of course, for this, we had to get our very own Miggy Spicy to come on and talk to us about this everything. But Migdalia, help us out really quickly. Would you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Migdalia, or I go by Miggy Spicy, which was like a nickname born out of high school. So I've had it for a long time now. I work as a freelance entertainment professional out in LA. You know, I do production management on TV and films. I also produce independent films. I do some journalistic work with Screen Rant and Sci-Fi Wire, #ShowIlluminerdi. I used to do some work for. And yeah, I'm just kind of here in pandemic world, waiting for my next gig. I love the freelance life, but this is kind of like the hard times of it when you're just trying to wait for your next thing and you're wondering if your industry is going to recover anytime soon.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So right now I'm just doing a lot of gaming on PS5, playing Cyberpunk. That keeps crashing on me.
Oh, yeah.
4 times. It's 4 times in 2 hours. It crashed.
Oh my
God.
mad.
We were all so charmed by Keanu being in a video game, and this is what happened.
Yes.
I
think the only saving grace is Keanu being the face of it.
Oh,
yes.
You didn't mention your most favorite project that I love that you're doing right now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Sorry, I don't know why I keep forgetting about that. I think because it's just so near and dear to my heart. I'm just like, it's not business, it's fun.
It's your child. You always brag about your child, but tell them about your child, though. Tell them about it.
Yes, so I host this podcast. It's called the Fresh Podcast of LA. And if you guys don't get it yet, it's basically a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air podcast, but also a Will Smith appreciation podcast. I've been talking about doing this podcast for like 6 months, and I got really, really drunk at LA Comic-Con. I think it was 2019. Yes, that was the last time we were able to be out. 2019. And I was talking to our friend Tatiana. I was like, listen, I just really want to do this Will Smith show. And I was talking to Tony, and they're like, just do it. So 4 months later, we were in the pandemic in April. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm bored. I don't have nothing to do. And I just started it. I went back home with family, so I'm away from my pro equipment, but all I really needed was Skype and my iPhone earbuds, and I just went with it. You know, if you just want to do a podcast, just do it. That's kind of the bare minimum that you need, and maybe a nice editing software for sure to clean up the audio. But yeah, it's been very successful so far. We have over 600 subscribers, and we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Play. I'm really excited.
and it's dope, and I trust me, I'm not just saying that
Yes.
because your boy's been on there. So
Johnny has been on there.
but it's such a dope podcast. I love listening to it.
Thank
And
you.
what I really love is the perspective y'all bring to it, like the diverse, like attention to detail or whatnot. Like you talk about like some of the implications that happen behind the scenes, as well as the writers' room, like all these different things like that. How important that like Black show actually is, which is of course we had to actually come on Disney+Diversity, where
thank you. I'm excited.
So before we get into That's So Ravn, because that's what people's waiting for, but just our last question for you: what is your favorite Disney Channel show?
Disney Channel show. All right, I have a confession. So I wasn't like big on Disney Channel. I would watch it. I'd watch it if my friends watched it, and I have a sister who's 8 years younger than me, so I'd watch it with her. But I was more like a Nickelodeon kid. It's a Cartoon Network kid.
Don't hold that against the people. She's good. Don't hold that against the people. She's good people.
We don't need more division. We don't need more division in this time. If you like Nickelodeon, if you like Disney, it's fine.
You know me, I like to stir the pot. I like to stir the fire.
Drama, no. Not that orange, that green slime.
So what is your favorite Nickelodeon show, since that's the one you grew up with?
Ooh, stop. Damn. Why did you do that?
Well, we got to know. The people need to know.
Yeah, people need to know. Yeah.
I guess the first thing I think about is SpongeBob SquarePants.
Really?
That's totally fair.
It's not a true 90s kids show, because I think that was born in 99, 98.
Yeah.
But I mean, SpongeBob's still going on today. It's hilarious. It's hilarious going back now. And of course, you have Doug and Rugrats and Abro Monsters and Angry Beavers and stuff. Those are classics. But I think SpongeBob is the one that really sticks with you, and you can remember certain episodes, like thinking back to it. I think I'd have to go with SpongeBob. But if you want a true 90s show, I would probably go with Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh,
nice.
Cuts here. These
nice.
I thought you might go with like a Salute Your Shores, like a Hey Dude or something like that. But no,
I know.
Respect.
No, I liked Rocco too.
That's what's up. Rocco.
Turn the page, wash your hands.
Turn your page, wash your hands. That I have thought about that every time I bought my comic books. Turn the page, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Very nice. Very cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, you want the Disney Channel answer? You want the Disney Channel answer?
Do you have one? Yeah. If you have one, yeah.
When I did watch it, I did like Lizzie McGuire, Even Stevens. You know, those classics there were fun. That's So Ravn, of course. I watched that. Thinking back, those are probably like the staples of the Disney Channel. I was very into.
Okay.
Nice. And again, and of course, like classic shows like Lizzie McGuire and like Even Stevens are so good. But that kind of leads to like what we're talking about today, which is That's So Ravn, starring one and only Cosby Show classic, Cosby Show alumni, Raven Simone, which is like you love to see and everything like that.
I tried to channel a little bit of Raven today with my shirt.
I was gonna say
she would wear.
I was gonna say it's like, you know what? We weren't talking about Cheetah Girls, but you know.
Yes.
Well done. Low key because of the hair and because of the shirt though, I was looking like Peggy Bundy vibes, but that's just me. I was like,
I'm not hating on that reference. I'm not.
It's the bangs. You know what? It's the bangs.
Now I see it. Now I can't unsee this.
Dude, you got your Halloween costume down right now. Costume down right now.
Oh my God. Katie Seagal.
4 touchdowns in one game. You're all set.
Oh, Johnny.
I'm nostalgic like that. Okay, so let's talk about That's So Ravn. So, Justin, you want to give us a breakdown of it real quick?
Yeah, basically, going by the background of the show, That's So Ravn was, Disney Channel show that came out in January 17, 2003. So we went past the anniversary date of when the show premiered. Right. Ended in November 10th, 2007. The show is San Francisco. And it's about Raven Baxter, a teen with psychic abilities who draws on her ingenuity, talent as a fashion designer, and variety of other disguises to, as she gets in through classic sitcom high school hijinks, So yeah, and that's generally the show. That is basically every episode. She's at school. She gets a vision. The show does this. And and then she kind of has to decode what the hell division was, and most of the time she kind of doesn't really get the right answer by reading division, you know. So that's generally the show. Generally the show.
But what's always dope is she always learns a lesson at the end, which is always cool. And then what was dope about this as well is it was one of the first Disney Channel shows to go to 100 episodes. And it held the record for the longest. Usually they cancel around 64 or so. And honestly, it held the record until Wizards of Waverly Place. They literally went to 101 out of spite. Out of literal spite. It's not like, oh, we did 122 because we just went for that long. It's like, y'all, we got to beat that So Ravn. We need to keep trying to figure out a way to keep this going. It's like, wait, for real? So, yeah, so they got to 101. But before they did, though, That's So Ravn held it down. And honestly, I got to say, dope, because it was a Black woman-led show that did that.
Yeah.
Out of, like, all the things they've had going up to there, but it captured their fan base. They made toys, merchandise, like, all these different things from it. Like, they do with a lot of shows, but it sold really well. And then what's kind of crazy as well is that, like, so this show was originally meant for Raven Simone. Even though it has a title like That's So Ravn, it was originally just like a psychic show that was going to be like about like a girl and her psychic powers or whatever. But they kept like rebooting it and playing around with the name. But then Raven came and auditioned for it, and she just killed it. And they're like, yo, let's just call it That's So Ravn and build around her. And I got to admit, it's kind of genius. It's kind of dope.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's usually, it's helpful when a show is built around a person and that's their vehicle, rather than them just like shoehorning someone, you know, like talking about the Fresh Prince that was built for Will Smith. Right. Trying to think of other examples. I can't think of it. Like, you know, 30 Rock that was built around Tina Fey. Martin was built for Martin Lawrence. Yeah. And the Wayans brothers,
of course,
the Wayans brothers.
Right.
But you can see how successful those shows are when they're built around someone's persona and caters to that as well. And I find it funny when you told me that the show like went to 101 despite Wizards of Waverly Place. And that just reminds me of when I used to think that Charmed went one more season just to beat Buffy because they knew Buffy was a better show.
I could totally see that.
I forgot about that, but you're right.
The last season was trash.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 7 seasons? Buffy ended on 7 seasons? One more.
One more. But okay, so when y'all first saw That's So Ravn, and we'll start with Miggy first. Like, what was your first impression of, like, what were your early memories of when you first saw it?
Oh my God. So when I watched the episodes to do research for this, I was like, oh my God, it's been a long time since I've watched these episodes. And you said it came out in 2003. And I was like, are you serious? I was the teenager. And it did feel like that's when I first saw the show. So I must have watched it with my sister. But yeah, when I first saw it, listen, Raven Simone, she is hilarious. She is very funny. And even today, I was just chuckling at a lot of the scenes. She's a really good physical comedian. Yeah, she's really good with she's very like, I don't want to get her name, Lucy Arnaz.
Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Her name, but yes, Lucille Ball.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of her mannerisms and her facial expressions. It's a very 50s comedy. So when I saw it, and of course, you know, you see somebody who looks like you on screen. I was like, you know, that's the little girl from Cosby Show, and this is funny because, you know, on the flip side of that, you had the Nickelodeon comedians. You had Amanda Bynes, who is too much for me. Her comedy is like too much. Yeah. It's too grand. It's too very Melissa McCarthy and Chris Farley. That's not really like my brand of comedy. They're great, but it's not my brand. So I think she just teetered the line well enough to be likable. She was very young as well. She was like my age when she first started the show. So yeah, those are like kind of my first thoughts. You know, it's very funny and relatable, and it helped that, you know, she was the same age as I going through high school.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Justin? How did it relate to you when you first saw it?
Honestly, big reminder, I'm a little older. So when the show came out in 2003, I was already 1 year out of high school. So I was already like freshman year and junior college. And like Disney Channel was a thing that I just sort of didn't watch on a regular anymore. But it was the thing that I leave on at like midnight when I'm just trying to fall asleep. and I will admit, That's So Ravn, when I first initially heard about the show, I was like, oh, hey, it's Raven Simone. Like, yeah, Cosby Show. I was a big Hanging with Mr. Cooper fan, though.
Ooh,
as a
yes.
kid.
Nice.
So I remember liking the show and then
man.
loving the show when she joined it. So for me, I was like, hey, cool, you got something after hanging with Miss Cooper. I haven't seen her in anything in a while. But I will admit, like the Disney Channel sitcoms were just not my thing. Like I was 19, and I all the shows you mentioned, I watched them out of just boredom, but I wasn't sure if I was into them. Like I just remember going like, I'll try to watch the Raven show right now because what else am I doing? There was no internet really in the way that we have it, so they were on. They were.
I mean, it wasn't aimed towards your demographic either.
Absolutely, and I kind of accept. Absolutely, I wasn't, and I was like not going to be a jerk about it. It was like, I hate this show. It's just stupid.
Right.
I'm 19. This isn't made for a 19-year-old.
No.
Hannah Montana. I'm a big Hannah Montana fan.
Hannah Montana. I worked on the set where they shot Hannah Montana, FYI.
Oh my gosh.
I saw the wig one day outside. I'm like, fuck, it's the wig. It's like I knew, but I wasn't a fan. But but like it was fine. You know, I definitely like knew it was around, knew it wasn't for me, and I had little cousins that loved this show, and I'm like, okay, cool. You know, like
Nice.
that's for you. You're 5. You know, you're 8. You know, it's totally fine. You know.
So for me, I was in the exact reverse. Because like when I went to college, see, here's the thing, I didn't have Disney Channel growing up. So when I got to college, that was like one of the free channels they had. And I was like, we get Disney Channel? Oh, hell yeah, it's about time. So I was all invested. I was like, I don't care this ain't my demographic. You denied me this for 10 years because of a price wall. So I'm taking all this in. And so like I was just like running with it. And so like when That's So Ravn came on, like I remember seeing like the commercial for it, and you know, like it was, I'm not sure if you remember, it was a promotional video where they're like out like in the set street or whatever, dancing around this song. That's so Ravn, in the future she can see. That's so Ravn, and I'm just like, oh, this kind of hype. And then all of a sudden, like, Eddie starts rapping. Oh man, here we go now. Did it get him now? Did it go? Say now, about to put it down. Yeah, come on around with Ray now. In the future, let's bring now. Then everything's gonna change now. Oh, it's hip hop. They brought this in. Oh, it's black, y'all. It's really, really black. So I was like all on board for it. I was like, I am here for this. I am here for this. And then I started watching. I was like, yo, this is actually like really dope and really fun. Because again, kind of to your point, Migdalia, it was like everything else that was on Disney Channel, even though like I'm making it for lost time, never interested me. Like Lizzie McGuire, I tried to watch a few episodes. Keep up was like, And then like I would see even Stevens. The Man.
Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
I did watch some Sweet Life. I did watch Sweet Life too, yeah. But the thing about it is though is that like again it was like Ravn, because it was that black man character, it connected on this like whole nother level, which is dope to see, and see her family and all these different things like that. And I was just like super dope. Like legit, I kept up with that all the way to Corey in the House. And Corey in the House, I was like, this is dope. Corey in the House, yo. And so yeah, so I'm legit. I'm excited to talk about this. And also because this is our Black History Month episode as well. And you know, we gotta represent, and like they held it down.
Yes.
That's really excited to talk about this.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. So going from there now, we'll start talking about bada bing, the cast. So look at the cast list really quickly. So obviously, you had Raven Simone, the lead, playing Raven Baxter. We had Orlando Brown playing Eddie Thomas. We had Kyle Massey as Corey Baxter, and again got his own spinoff, Corey in the House. I'm gonna mispronounce this, so help me out. And Annalise Vanderpool.
I feel you got it.
Okay.
I feel that's
Did
it.
he get it? Did he get it?
I feel you got it. That
Okay.
sounds about right. I don't think it sounds super. I don't feel you super butchered it.
Okay. Then we got Rondell Sheridan as Victor Baxter, was dope, and Takia Crystal Kamaya as Tanya Baxter. Okay, so that's the cast, and it's like it was really dope. So honestly, I gotta say, like this was a good cast that was put together. How do y'all feel about the cast? Like when y'all saw them interact and everything?
They had really good chemistry.
They did. Yeah, I'm a fan of the parents. Honestly, I think Rondell and I'm gonna butcher her name. Takaya, the one who plays the mom.
We're gonna call her T'Challa.
No, I was not gonna say T'Challa. Takaya.
T.
Yo, T and Rondell did really good. I will say Rondell does in fact look like Kyle Macy's father. I think that's one of the best things about that guy. Like that, he looks like your dad. Absolutely. But no, this is a strong group of like they got it. It's one of those shows where you're like, oh, you don't need to figure this out. You was it like six? Yeah, all six of them figured it out. Like they already have the chemistry. There was no weird like, oh, let's get rid of that actor. In the first 3 episodes, like, no, this is the cast. You're set. You're good.
They feel involved. They feel like a family. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, because that's always a problem I had with shows like Full House and Boy Meets World. I really loved Boy Meets World, but I really hated Full House. But I always just felt like they were just characters, almost like it's a play. They were just like little pieces, like little chess pieces. You have to have the mom, and you have to have the dad, and you have to have the little sister, and here's a nuclear family. But they never felt like they were really bonded, no matter how many, special messages or special episodes of the week they wanted to have. But I didn't feel that way with this cast at all. I felt like, they had really good chemistry and they were related.
I gotta be real lucky. I like the cast a lot too. Like I agree with you. Like Raven, as I'm watching these episodes, I was low-key comparing her to like Eddie Murphy, who like takes on different costumes and roles all the time. I was like, yo, Raven is going to work here, and she's pulling it off. Like you said, she's doing this great physical comedy, everything like that. Like I understood why you built the show around her, because I remember when she first got it, I was like, oh, she's a star. But as you watch back, and I was like, no, she earned that. Like she's very, very good, and there's a reason why she went to 100 episodes. Damn that 101. And then there's also another reason why they gave her the Cheetah Girls movies and all those different things like that. It's like, nah, dude, Raven Simone's like hella talented. And it seemed like
she was the face for a while of Disney, of the Disney Channel.
So she earned it.
And she probably wasn't making that much, because Disney is notorious for underpaying their child actors and not giving them much on the back end either. So I'm sure she was financially exploited.
No, definitely so. I saw the other twin from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, the one who's not on Riverdale, begging for change. And I was like, yes, $5. Stay strong. I know those residuals ain't coming through like you thought it was. But no, real talk though, like who really impressed me on this thing though? One was Kyle Massey, who plays like her little brother. I was like, this man is a comedy genius. These facial expressions are gold. Like I had no idea he was so good at selling these things. And honestly, Chelsea is hilarious. Like she's also just really good at like playing like like the best friend and like what's going on, right? I'm just like Chelsea's kind of gold. So those two were like my favorite characters I was like watching these episodes. But again, the rest of the cast is super dope, and like honestly, I'm looking forward as we get ready to talk about these are the first 3 episodes that we watched. Oh, so Jeff, you want to break it down?
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to speak to Chelsea real quick, because it's not that easy to play a ditzy character like that, because I feel like people believe that playing dumb or stupid ditzy characters or playing drunk and all that, it's easy thing to do, but it's not, because you can easily go over the top with playing ditzy. Again, going back to my Full House episode, Andrea, so annoying, too over the top. It's too campy, at least for my taste, right? But yeah, Chelsea is just midline there. She knows how to not take it over the edge.
Exactly. She knows her wheelhouse, how to live into it. Like in reference to your podcast, she's kind of like a little bit like Hillary from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Lives in that like ditzy role, but at the same time though has all these dope attributes. Like she's kind of ditzy, but Chelsea's also established as very smart and intelligent, which is very empowering to like young women as well. It's like you can kind of be like silly or goofy, but your brain, that STEM, like all those fields are still open to you. And that was something about Chelsea. And plus she was woke as well. She was already like a vegetarian, a vegan, like all these different things like that. So it was just like, and this was back in 2003 before it became like really cool. So dope character to see on television. And
that before it became really cool.
Well, here in LA it's cool. Oh, you're a vegan? You go right to the front of the line. Oh, thank you. But also biracial group of friends, and not forced biracial, whereas like rainbow is like, oh no, like boom, white character, black characters. It just feels chill and not forced at all. Let's get to this first episode though. Justin?
Basically to break down the first episode, we're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of the show. So, basically, episode 1, Raven gets mad at her teacher for calling her out when she didn't know an answer. Raven thought the class would have backed her up, but they didn't. Raven's teacher, Mr. Petrocelli. There we go. He's played by Ernie Sabala, who I think, didn't he voice Pumbaa in Lion King? I think he did.
A
But
wimbo,
double
a
check
wimbo.
on that.
Fact check.
But anyway, fact check. If someone can fact check that, Johnny, while I finish up. If you can fact check it, Johnny, I'll finish up with a breakdown episode. Anyway, Mr. Pacelli wanted to speak to Raven's parents. But then Raven decided to find a way to kind of skirt that issue. She decided to do a classic sitcom trope and play her own mom. And this is one of the first examples of the character doing the, Raven putting in the work. So this is the first episode where she gets like, I am dressing up Eddie Murphy style in a wild outfit, playing an over-the-top character. And we're doing the classic sitcom thing where they have to like kind of BS their way out of the situation.
It's very Mrs. Doubtfire in the dinner scene.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100% Mrs. Doubtfire. And yeah, that's generally the episode. And that's, there's some little fun spots here too. I think Eddie's got to deal with this bully who's trying to like steal his locker because it's the good spot. And generally that's episode 1, Did we get any confirmation on Ernie Sabella, by the way?
Just looked it up. You're exactly right. He is the voice of Pumbaa. Good job.
Ooh.
There you go. That Disney money, you work for them for life.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
That low-key, that's the crazy thing. Like the mom, like we'll talk about her later though, but I was looking at her thing. She's on here and like American Dragon Jake Long and like one other thing. I'm like, dang, Disney keeps you employed. Once you got your foot in the door, you can stay for a long time.
As long as you don't piss off the mouse, they keep you working.
Exactly.
Unlike us right now, who are sadly on the run because
we pissed off the mouse. Yeah.
We pissed off the mouse, so we just keep that low key. All right, but Migdalia, as our guest, what do you think of the first episode?
The first episode was very funny. I think she first got in trouble because he would do this like teacher dick thing where he would call on somebody who didn't know the answer, wasn't paying attention or whatever, instead of, the person who probably did have the answer. Sure, you gotta teach some lessons sometimes, but maybe you just want to get through the class and get the right answers and not be picked on for 40 minutes. There's this whole thing where, the parents are building her up to like not be a troublemaker anymore. And she gets her phone. Oh my gosh, I got the phone now. I don't want to tell my parents. And again, like the third act there with her little Mrs. Doubtfire spiel where she had to get out of the costume and into the costume. I have no idea how she did it so quickly. That really kind of, crescendoed her comedic skills there. Generally, I liked the episode. It kept me entertained and interested. I'm just like, what is she doing? Like, eventually, he's going to meet her real parents. I don't know what she's trying to accomplish here. But hey, we all got in trouble. We all tried to do a thing where we would fake like our parents knew about how much trouble we were in. Forging signatures or not giving up any information. She just took it to the extreme.
Low key, as I was watching that scene, I agreed because like we all did the thing where like you write a fake signature, flare your note or whatever. But it's like at the time, I was like, where'd you get an elaborate costume from?
Yes,
that was the thing that kind of blew me away. And then I love the joke at the end when her mom shows up with the costumes. Like, so how exactly does this look like me? And
the big butt.
Where did you even get those clothes from? And why would you think that? So it was like it was hilarious to see. What do you think, Jack?
It's interesting because like it's episode 1, and the first thing that kind of cracks me up about this show, and this is kind of like my general thought for the first 3 episodes, is there ain't no pilot. There is no, hey, Raven just got her first vision. How does she handle this? It's like, no, she just has it. It's like there's no setup. There is no episode where how she found out or how her friends found out or how her family found out. They apparently, I'll spoil it, they all know.
They know, yeah.
And it's like, it's no big thing. It's no big deal. But she just has it. And so right away, I'm waiting for, like, I remember the episode playing and halfway through I went, is this out of order?
Are they going to explain this?
Is this out of order? Let me look it up. Like, oh no, the show just fucking just goes.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, here's the thing. Let me be real. Sorry, I'm going to have to be the one that will be truthful.
Be honest.
On his opinion, I think everyone does a really good job of what they are asked to do. It's just not working for me.
Really?
Yeah. No. There's some funny. Like I think they're funny performances. Truth. Like everyone's really funny. But I wasn't feeling it, and I'm kind of at that point. Like I'm now 37 years old, watching a show that's made for a little bit grown audience. But here's some things I will say that's like that'll probably be leading to some of my thoughts later on. But one thing I definitely think it's kind of cool is that like, hey, this is a really nice mix of different colored kids, different diversity kids at this high school. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I get to the first scene, I'm like, oh hey, I catch like not one, possibly two Filipino kids in her class.
Mm-hmm.
I see a couple. Like it's a good mix of like just like that looked like my school. That's something I thought was like, kind of cool. Like that looks like my high school. Like that's like the first time I've really paid attention to them. I grew up in a high school in Orange County that like good mix of all different folks. We had Asian, Hispanic, Latino, African American. Like it was a Indian American, Native American. It was really nice. So I was watching this
melting pot.
Nice melting pot. So watching the first episode of That's So Ravn, I went, oh shit, that looks pretty good actually. And no, so like I think I do like the bit where she's asking Corey for advice on how to. How do we take care of our parents? How do we sweet talk our parents? And his 3 C's. I thought that was pretty. I will admit that's pretty funny.
Yes.
And then seeing that crash and burn immediately.
Wait, but you gotta break it down for the 3 C's. The 3 C's. The compliment,
compassion, cuddle,
cry.
Cry.
I was just like genius, and I love the jump in with you really quickly. I love the setup for that scene as well, where she's like, "I'm in trouble, and I have to get something over, so I'm going to come to the most devious mind I know." And then Corey like turns around, cheers, like, "Yes, you've come to the right place." I'm like, "This is the man. This is the man." Like automatically, I was like, "This is my favorite character. I will ride or die with this character now." So yeah, that was really dope. That got Corey over for me. But I give it credit though. The first episode, it was interesting. It was a nice setup for things. It introduced you to the characters and got everyone set up, and that's exactly what it was supposed to do. And that was dope. And honestly, there were some things I was like watching for as well because I agree with you. Like I was watching like in the background because like I love the diversity of the background characters. Like you said, it was like Latin, Asian, like everybody's like going to the school, which is dope. And then what's also cool as well was that like again, like when Eddie's getting bullied for his lockers by this tall white guy, but then he's like with an older white. When Eddie goes to stand up to him, he's with a white guy and like a Filipino dude. It was like again, I saw the same thing. It was like, oh, I see that tan. That's clearly right there. It was like, okay, where's the loopy at? Like I know what's going on right now. So honestly, like yeah. But I will be real though, the comedy of the first episode was just a little bit stale because of the chemistry, but it did set some nice things up. But again, once Chelsea shows up, I feel that's where they kind of hit their stride. But I will give them credit though, I really do love the conversation at the end. Like that family conversation where they have about like trust, about you put so much pressure on your daughter, you're like, that's the new Ravn. And it's very subtle like verbiage that people use that they don't understand hurt somebody because people do that all the time. Like, oh, you're the new person, the new blah blah blah. It's like, the fuck was wrong with my old self? Yeah. And people don't realize they're saying those things like underneath. But yeah, it was like, so it was really dope to see. It was really dope to see. Okay, so episode 2 and 3.
Okay, so the next episode of the show is basically Eddie joins the basketball team, but in order for him to stay in the basketball team, he has to kind of get like a C+ average, right? Should be fine, should be easy. But then Ravn gets another vision, and she sees. We all got to do that at the end, by the way. Yeah. Where we'll have to do that by the end. Where anyway, Ravn gets a vision where Eddie fails a test bad, so she basically starts freaking out and trying to find a way for him to, make sure he's on top of it. But also because she saw the vision, that means she also saw the answers to the test. So now she has this moral quandary of, do I tell him the answer? But that's not right. But but that will help him. And when Eddie kind of finds out, this is also the realization that I'm like, oh wait, Eddie knows about the visions? They all know about the visions? This isn't like a superhero thing where she has to keep it to herself. No, they all know. When Eddie finds out, Eddie starts kind of getting a little annoyed with her. Well, if you know, why don't you help me? And that's sort of the moral drama that Ravn has to deal with this episode.
which I liked, which I thought was like a pretty dope episode because, like, again, like it brings in everybody, it sets everything up, and then like again, I got excited because like Chelsea shows up, and I was like, oh, Raven's got a best friend, and again, it was like dope to see like her playing her DT stuff and everything like that was fun and like everything. I love that scene where they're trying to help Eddie study in the kitchen, and so they got the like the stuff going and everything. But again, it's great comedy because like they turn to like a game show. We have to run around the kitchen, put the right names on stuff, but then when they start getting stuff wrong, it's like, well, this isn't an oven. Like we don't call the oven basuda. That's trash. Going, and she's going over again. I'm like, this is kind of funny. This is looking kind of fun. And he's like, can you stop doing that? And then my favorite scene here is when they're going through all this stuff, and Corey comes downstairs. He's like, Dad said you got to cut this out. He's like 15 minutes, and he's like, can you tell him to wait? Like we're trying to help Eddie study for a Spanish test, and then Corey's like, a Spanish test? You're down here studying for Spanish? And then he pretty much comes and berates him in Spanish and starts going,
oh, yes!
I was like, get it.
That was dope.
That was good.
Let's go.
I'll admit that's really funny.
That's hilarious. And then I also love the fact that we got the Spanish teacher who was again of Latinx descent. I was like, this is dope. Look at all these minorities over here getting paychecks from Disney. That's why I'm talking. Get paychecks, y'all. Get this money. So that was like
they're getting SAG minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum's better than zero. Minimum's better than zero. So at least they got some credits.
Okay. Next episode. It's Corey's birthday. But Raven has a vision where
what happened? We weren't supposed to do it.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
And I was like,
you
gotta look to camera, and then it's gonna look like you were splashed in the face with ice cold water.
Yes. That should be a challenge. We should start that as a challenge. We should start that as a hashtag.
Oh my god! So that's a Raven challenge.
Hashtag that's a Raven challenge.
Yes,
that would be so dope.
Okay, we're gonna try that when this episode launches. That's gonna be a thing we're gonna post on the Instagram. Anyway, but Raven gets a vision where Corey is like saying she's a horrible sister and I hate you and blah blah blah, and that freaked her the heck out. So she is trying to ensure to give her little brother, like air quote, the best birthday party ever, and everything goes wrong. Everything goes wrong, and that's generally the function of this episode.
Yeah. So Miggy, you go first. What'd you think?
This episode was okay. I think the lesson in it, the main part, the heart of the A plot was there. You know, when you have an older sibling and, you know, you're getting into fights with your younger sibling, and then the last thing you want is for that to be taken personally or hit long term, because she has a vision of him being like, I hate you, you're the worst sister ever. And that really just cuts deep because she's kind of blowing it off. She's like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll get over it. You know, that's kind of things that we say if you're an older sibling. So that just really puts a panic in her. And I think that was very nice and touching. Like, she was really concerned with that. And she really went all out to give him a really good birthday. So I think that the heart of it was good. I think it was a good storyline. I did kind of get a little bit bored with the shenanigans with the zoo thing, because I'm like, well, they got this guy. How are they going to pay this guy? And the parents are upstairs with food sickness, but they don't know what's going on downstairs. They don't hear what's going on downstairs, all these kids and stuff. So I would, it wasn't as good as the first two, I think.
Might be in the minority here.
Uh-oh.
Low-key my favorite episode.
Well, you don't even know what Justin's opinion is. Stop trying to make yourself the minority.
It's true. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of used to it. Podcast. But I liked it a lot because, like, one, I kind of like this, like, I like the theme between this and the last episode. There's, like, a lot of times she's using her powers to maintain relationships with people she finds important. So I love that message there between her and her brother. She's like, no, he's my annoying little brother. We fight, but I still love him, though, and I want to maintain that relationship, which I thought was dope and everything. But then also just love the comedy in this episode as well. Like, again, like when Chelsea's like, when the reptile guy does show up and, like, you know, he gets sick and has to run out or whatever, they're like, okay, well, we'll just take the animals out ourselves. But they go in the kitchen and all the frogs are like let loose. And it's like, what happened? Chelsea's like, They were talking to me. They said they wanted to be free. I'm like, Chelsea, why? And then like having to catch the frogs was into a nice little bit. Then the dad downstairs got to hide it in the shirts. Again, I had that Lucille Ball, like Desi Arnaz type show. And it was like, that was like kind of fun to see. But then I love the end where it's like, they're trying to put on this reptile show for the kids. And so they started bringing out like, and they're like, oh, we can just show you the animals. It was like, no, Reptile Rick, he wrestles the animals. So, big wrestle a snake, which leads to like Eddie getting the drums. Chelsea's got the lights doing the announcing everything. I'm like, he's hilariously dope. But then Raven starts like fighting, it's like dark or whatever. And she's like doing great physical comedy. Was like, this is hilarious. But then you find out at the end, it was like, oh, it was a fake snake the whole time.
Well, that's a stuffed animal.
Exactly. Which I'm like, this is just dumb fun right now. This is ridiculous. And so like I was kind of here for it. And honestly, I like that talk at the end where it's like she has the vision, but before he can say, she actually interrupts and changes the future, which we hadn't seen till now. He's about to say like I hate you, but she starts at the eyes like she's like, look, I'm sorry, I was just trying to give you a birthday, but just know I love you and I always want to have a relationship. Like I'm just sorry. And they talk it out. He's like, well, you know, I appreciate you because not many big sisters would go through all the trouble you did for me today. And I was like, dude, that's dope. Plus, it also established that she can change the future with her powers, which is the reason why she tries sometimes. So I'm like, all right, this is actually kind of cool. I actually like this a lot.
There's one set for stun.
Oh, gosh. Something wrong here.
Oh, Migdalia, you're back. What happened? What happened? You disappeared.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. So you're not gonna believe this. There was like a wild rabid pack of goofies chasing after me, and I had to go run to my freaking car.
Not the cowboy goofies.
Okay. All right. Everyone chill. Okay, we're good. Listen. Okay, let's just wrap up the show. Migdalia, just keep.
I don't know, guys. I don't know.
No, you got this. Listen, Migdalia, you got this. So I just need you and Johnny, you specifically right now. You're freaking out a little more than usual. Thank you. Just everyone chill. We're good. Just finish the show, and as soon as we're done, we turn off our phones and leave immediately. Okay? We're good. Okay. We're good. We're almost done.
Okay.
Just
the truth has to be put out. The truth has to be put out.
I don't want to anger the House of Mal.
No, I know. No. It's fine. We'll be good. It's okay. Listen.
Okay.
Okay. Johnny,
hurry, guys. I'm on like E here. I got to drive away.
Okay. All right, Justin. Go, Justin. Go.
Okay. So, real quick, let's go ahead and talk about like things that we found good, aka woke, or problematic concerning the show.
Okay. Well, that's so okay. So yeah. So what were some things y'all found to be woke or like problematic with the show? Anything stick out?
Johnny or Migdalia, anything that can really pop your head real quick?
Man, Johnny, you want to go first?
I got it. Yeah. So one, I love the diversity. Like, of course, it's again a black female lead, but to be real with you, like honestly, as I was watching this, I was like looking into like black female led programming. And I was like, and again, looking into the history of it, and it was super dope because you see people mention things like Girlfriends, Living Single, like all these dope shows that came before Moesha. But there's those that nobody talks about. That's So Ravn. I'm like, yo, why don't this show get its flowers? Because the thing about it is that like today we're living in this super dope renaissance of all these black women lead shows. Things like How to Get Away with Murder, my personal favorite, Star Trek Discovery. We got black women leading Star Trek and so like I'm loving this and everything like that. But like That's So Ravn. I'm like, we need to give some respect to the show because again, it's opened a lot of doors. Because the thing about some of those shows that I previously mentioned, like Moesha, Girlfriends, like a lot of those things were on UPN or even Living Single, it's on Fox. But that's during the time where they're doing their urban programming. And it's the whole thing like we gonna do it now, but once we got people watching, cancel. And it always happens. Like they literally get our foot in the door, but then once they got that money, they got that audience, they cut off like, black programming. It always sucks. But the thing about That's So Ravn that makes it such an important show is the fact that it was on the Disney Channel. It's on this major network, and they let it run in prime time for 100+ episodes. Anybody know if we don't get that show, guess what? We don't get Wizards of Waverly Place led by Selena Gomez later on. Because it just showed like how powerful it can be when you bet on people of color and you do this on your programming. And they did it with other shows too. So
Zendaya, I forgot what she was on.
Was it like
Casey something? Was it a spy show? Was it a spy show on Disney Channel?
It was a dance show on there.
Step It Up. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was,
Step It Up. Yeah, way beyond my time.
Yeah. Shake it up. Yeah, that's
Shake
beyond
it up.
though, but we will do a review of it. Shake it up. But yeah, but that's the thing though, is that like it leads to like all these dope opportunities. So I do want to give that respect. Other thing I liked about it too was that sexuality in a way, because there was that thing in the first episode where like Eddie's like, I like this locker, it's by the water fountain. And Raven's like, why is it by the water? Why is that pouring? And this girl comes up and starts drinking, and he's like ogling the girl, which is like, can't be doing that, Eddie. Women are not objects. But then later on, Raven's like, she's dressing up and she's like hitting on this guy. Like, ooh, I'll be back for you later. I was like, oh, cross this out. These are just okay. I'm here for this now. Okay, I understand what's happening. Cool. It's equal going both ways. And so that was like really dope to see too, though. And again, the diversity that comes up in the show is dope because I talked about the teacher, but as I was looking further into it, there are other characters that come up who are diverse as well. Like she gets bullied by this group of girls who are like mostly Latina. And it's like dope. So they're coming to play like later on as well. And they always keep a diverse cast like going in this show. Just from the Black experience too, it's always dope to see different shades of Black people as well. You got light skin Black, dark skin Black, which just kind of forms people's like, we can all be related. Like, no, legit. We can all be related. We just come out different shades. Sometimes like some of us stand up in a little bit longer, some of us get out a little bit quicker, but we all the same cookies. And so, but that's like that analogy, yeah, it works out. But yeah, so it was like dope to see. So those are things that I liked about it. Problematic stuff, you know, I was trying to keep other stuff, but nothing really stood out to me. But I'm gonna turn to Migdalia as our Black woman, like biracial Black and brown woman on this podcast. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Yes, like you. I mean, obviously I'd have to see the season as a whole and the series as a whole, but the first 3 episodes I didn't really find anything problematic, so to speak, you know, in comparison to a lot of other shows, because even back in 2003 it was basically like 1993, you know, it wasn't that progressive. So the things that's over, you might think like, oh, it's 2003, you know, but that's over even wasn't that progressive, but it was for reasons we've already mentioned. But yeah, in terms of like, you know, Orlando Brown hitting on the young girl, sometimes, and maybe this is a bad thing to do, but I chalk it up to his age. You know, that's, you know, puberty, that's what you're going to do, hormonal, you know. But like you said, it is a good balance where Raven does it and he does it. So it's just not like him creeping on women like we see in so many other sitcoms. Speaking to the Black experience, it's not just enough being diverse. You also have to address issues in relation to your protagonist's race. You know, my sister just made me watch an episode where Raven and Chelsea applied to this retail job, and Chelsea was just really, really bad at, you know, folding clothes. She didn't style the customers correctly, and Raven was acing all of those things. But in the end, Chelsea got hired and Raven didn't. So she's just like, you know, why didn't I get hired? Why didn't I get hired? And she had a vision, and it was the manager who was like being really sweet to her face and everything, and like, great job, just saying, you know, I don't hire Black people. So that was just, yeah. She was like, I don't hire Black people. And you find out later, she says this to Chelsea, you know, which is, you know, being, you know, bold with your racism, because obviously Chelsea went to the interview with Raven and they were friends, but she felt really comfortable with her bigotry that she would tell her friend that I don't hire Black people. So that's just one instance of them addressing, you know, something that Raven might go through as a Black woman, as a Black person in America, which happens, unfortunately. So I think there are a few other episodes like that as well. But like I said, it's not just enough being a diverse show, just putting in faces there and be like, well, okay, we did our job. You got, you know, there are hardships with that as well.
No, for sure. Definitely. And thanks for bringing up the episode. That's an important, pivotal episode too that shows that, again, they're actually willing to address those issues. Justin, you see anything like those woke or problematic here?
Nothing super that, like, you know, obviously, like Migdalia said, there's only 3 episodes we watched, so there's not a lot I can really go off of that screams that's an issue. But you know, like, you know, my stance is always like, is there any Asian characters, any Asian representation whatsoever at all? And yeah, you know, hey, episode 1, like I said, I caught 2 kids, like, they look Filipino, you know, and one of them ended up even having a comedic bit with Eddie. So you know, they're not supporting, they're not leads, but I'll give them credit where credit's due. You know, it's like, hey, that's not bad. And like I said before, with the diversity of the students at that school, it felt real. It felt like that's realistic to me, and that I didn't see a lot of that in like Boy Meets World, you know, like, you know, or Full House or
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. or the other sitcoms I watched growing up. So I'll give give the credit for that. And like at the end of the day, it's like the show knows what it is. The show knows it's humor level. But it's good to know they did that episode, the one you just described, Migdalia. It's good to know that the show does know. It's like, yeah, but our leads are black, and we need to address that. Yeah, that needs to be brought up. That needs to be reminded. And if it can be done in a way in a children's show to let the audience, who are kids, understand, understand that as early as they can, that's great. And it's great whether you're a black child watching it or not. Like, I always bring up the fact when I did my discussions about Baby's Kid in my stream, I did back in June. I saw Baby's Kids. If you guys don't know, Baby's Kids was an animated film that the lead character designer ended up working on the Disney Channel Proud Family. But when I saw Baby's Kids, that was a very important movie for me as a kid, because that's my first exposure to seeing the bigotry that black folk go through, because I remember the scene where a cop pulled over the main guy. And I as a kid, I was like, why? I didn't understand. As an Asian American kid, I didn't understand why. But then I started realizing what they were doing. They were profiling these kids because they looked this way, dressed this way. And immediately I was like, why are you doing that? And then got mad and got real pissed off. And that was my first real kind of like understanding that this is something that's real. And so I'm glad to know that, this show where, it's fun and goofy. She gets to wear different costumes and play different characters and, deal with regular high school stuff. They do this to show the kids that this is a reality for folks like her. And that's good. That's great. I think that's kind of amazing, and it doesn't take away that the next episode, she'll probably go into regular hijinks again.
Yeah. It's that balance, because think about this though, is that it's you do experience discrimination, but it's the same thing. It don't happen every single day, thankfully, but it does happen consistently enough where it's a problem. But that's the thing though, you kind of want to show that balance of life, because if it was so depressing, you would damn, it's gets to the point, it gets a lot darker and everything like that. But now we get to
I kind of want to add to that really quick, Johnny, what you said. It's because that's true. I kind of want to, not to go too much into it, but do I get a lot of really terrible Asian American bigotry or racist comments? No, but I get them. It happens, and I think that's a great thing you just pointed out. It's it doesn't happen to us every day.
Yeah.
But it happens. And when it does happen, it's a reminder. It gets you mad, you're shocked, you're a little mad, but it doesn't destroy me personally. It doesn't, I go well, fine. I guess that's that one person who sees me like that.
Right.
But it's good to know that they exist. And I think that's good that something like a show like this goes, it doesn't happen to her all the time, but it does. And you got to understand that. So that's good to go now. Because the next day, it's like, oh no, I have to lie to my parents about something else I did wrong.
Normal teenage stuff.
Yeah.
Normal teenage stuff everyone gets, but there is that element where it's like, no, it happens to us. Yeah.
You're right. What's also dope too is that, again, thank you for pointing that out, Migdalia, share the episode, because and thank you again for sharing that episode with Migdalia, because what's dope about it too is the fact that it shows the economic impact that happens to people too. It didn't happen with Ravn when she was turning her homework assignment. It happened to her when she was applying for a job.
Yeah.
That might be her first high school job, but think about when you're applying for a career and you're out that $100,000 job, and it's well, I don't hire black people. But they just don't come out like that. You wonder why didn't I get that gig? And it happens all the time. And so for people to realize that, especially in a lot of industries, the industries that we work in, from entertainment wise and whatnot, it's a lot about who your friends are. And sometimes some people don't have black friends, and so they don't give black or Asian people or Latin people jobs opportunities. And so it sucks. But again, that's the reason why it's important to do episodes like that, because it points it out. And I just also, as we get ready to give it our rating, it was also diverse behind the camera too, because Victor, who plays the Downer show, Rondell Sheridan, actually directed episodes of the show as well. So it allows black leadership behind the camera, and he went for direct episodes of That's So Ravn and directed other Disney Channel shows too. So they can let have that more opportunity as well. So it's like, dude, this is dope. Okay, so
Nice.
we'll get to the part of the show now where we rate That's So Ravn, where we rate the Disney property. So we're either going to rate it as woke, meaning it was diverse, inclusive, and doing a lot of great things. Waking, which means it's progressive and is getting there, or sleep as shit. Okay, so right after we got our pen and paper, we're going to start writing it down, and we're going to do our thing. So we'll be right back.
Let's get dangerous.
Okay, and we're back, everybody. Okay, so now we're going to show our ratings. And so I get ready to show it to the camera on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Waking.
Oh.
I got woke. Migdalia has woke, and Justin has waking. All right, Justin. So, odd man out. You want to tell us why you said waking?
It's a little early for me to really kind of judge it properly, to give it a full woke. You know, like it's for me personally. This is me personally. Like I think, because I didn't see that episode you saw, Migdalia. That probably would have changed my opinion relatively quick, even though I know it's coming. But if I'm just kind of judging off these first 3 episodes, it's like, yeah, no, it's like I would say it's like an inch away from woke for me. Like it's not very far. It's like it's on its way. So yeah, that's it. I think it does everything. I think, you know, just the simple fact of like we're already filling this cast with a diverse cast and filling the extras with a diverse group of extras, and we're doing stories that anyone could relate to, you know, and not making stereotypes off the bat.
Yeah,
I think those are all really good things about the show. Even if it's not for me taste wise in terms of comedy, I mean, I will 100% be like, oh no, this is a great step forward to like not just be all white Disney Channel shows, you know?
yeah. I think it's good in a way
yeah.
where it's like I enjoy shows where everything's not about race. Like black people could just be black people, and it doesn't have to be pointed out all the time, or because Chelsea's the only white friend, nobody says, "Oh well, that's so white. You're acting so white." And of course, we're going through the first 3 episodes, but that's just such an easy go-to when you're writing comedy. You know, when you think about Fresh Prince, just to go back to that, since I host that show, you know, there's always a lot of commentary on being black and like how black, you know, Carlton is, who is a black character, but always gets, you know, clowned on because he does quote unquote, you know, white things.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of enjoy that. I like seeing episodes where race is not the central issue. And of course, you know, there are hardships and problems and stuff we do have to address, but it's not the core of its jokes. I do like that about the show.
Okay. For me, I gave it woke, and I said thank you, black women. Hashtag Michelle Obama. And
oh God.
Because again, one is just really dope. Like it's really dope because again, we talked about like we got to see a black woman doing this level of physical comedy, and she got to do this progressive Disney Channel show where it was unlike. And I don't want to bash Lizzie McGuire because Lizzie McGuire is a dope show. It has its place and everything like that, or even Stevens and everything like that. But the women's role that they were playing on there to me felt a bit more
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, a little bit more Mickey Mouse, a little bit more typical what you expect. But here we're getting things that are super different. And she's not necessarily boy crazy or anything like that. She's just doing her own life and living her own thing. And she has her own dreams and ambitions, and she's intelligent. She's just a positive role model that was dope to see. And then,
she's not a size 2. Sorry to jump in, but yeah, that's also nice to see too. She's a full figured woman.
Exactly.
Actually, that's a great point. I really think that's almost giving me giving my eyes open. Almost changing it. I'm almost going to change it. But that's a wonderful point. A great point. No, she is like she's not hiding anything in her body type, and it's a great sign of like of body positivity. You know, like there is no. You know, like in episode 1 where, you know, hilariously, she's adding more pounds as being the mom. Like she's like it's almost Big Mama's House level of the kind of character she created. But she's got no problem telling that other kid who's hanging out with Eddie, like, I'm going to see you later. You know?
And in season 2 to 3, she gets a boyfriend who's there from seasons 2 to 3, and they date for a long time. So again, that's dope. And then when it comes to like my test as well, One, it passes my the Bechdel test because we see women interact and they talk about things that aren't necessarily about like a guy or anything like that for periods of time. It passes my The Wire test, and Miggy is your first time on here. My The Wire test, based upon the great show, is if you have two people of color who have ongoing conversations that aren't about like a white person, and it passes the Wire test because you have multiple different type groups of like minorities. Then you also get different groups of minorities as well because we saw like the Latin representation, Latinx representation. We saw the Asian American person who was there, and there's more people who come later on in the seasons as well. And also led to stuff behind the camera as well because I explained how like the dad is directing episodes, but when I just look at the writers' room, the problem with it is that writers don't always pop up with color. But when I look at the room, it's full of men and women. And so that's important. That means women writing some of these episodes, and hopefully people of color were there too. There's a couple names I'm looking like Bianca. That sounds like a sister right there. But some names I'm just like you sound like somebody. But yeah, Reggie. Only black people named Reggie. But the thing about it is that like it had all those things going for it. And again, we see like its legacy that it goes on with and all things it leads to later on. So yeah, I had to give it woke because again, it's really dope to see. And it's awesome. And again, like to a point that we brought up earlier, Migdalia is like, if we don't get Ravn, quote unquote, do we get Zendaya? You think about they gave Zendaya 2 shows. She did Shake It Up, and then she got her own like spy show. Then they put her in all these movies. Now she's doing Euphoria and like Spider-Man, all the stuff like that. It's like, bruh, Ravn opened the door for you. And what's also dope is it just made a comeback. Now they have a show with Ravn and Chelsea raising their kids. And we didn't talk about Eddie for a reason because Eddie started wilding out a couple times, y'all. So
oh my gosh, yes. Ooh.
Eddie also didn't get invited back to the new show too. So yeah. And then also, just as we wrap up the closing controversy, you saw a full black family together, a mom, a dad, a brother. And it was just dope to see. And then people who wonder why the mom left in season 4, there's all these reports out there that she like, it was like kind of like we go reference Fresh Prince scenario, Black on Viv type deal.
Yes.
But no, she actually left because she said her grandmother got Alzheimer's. And she just couldn't like give time to the show like that. She left to go take care of her. And she explained it was getting worse and worse, so she just had to go and leave. And it's sad, but she only missed that final season. But she did what she had to do for her family, so she's dope as well. So yeah, honestly, that's part of the reason why I gave it woke. I like all these people, like this show, and I'm looking forward to when we review the Cheetah Girls at some point. Miggy's already okay. So for sure.
Like, wait a minute, did you not hear us? Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys.
Oh no. No, you're okay. You're okay.
I'm having freaking problems.
Okay.
Just I did the Googles are coming from her. We gotta
okay. Robert. Okay.
So bye-bye, gotta go.